He said the quiet part out loud. You've probably seen the headline already, Toto Wolff calling it quite an honor to drive a Mercedes, while George Russell was still burning with anger in the media pen at Spa. And most people scrolled past it because on the surface it sounds like a boss saying something nice about his own team. But that sentence was not a compliment, it was a message. And in this video, you'll understand why that one line tells us exactly who Mercedes is really protecting in this championship fight. And it is not the driver who has been there the longest. Keep one question in your head until the end, because I'm going to ask you to answer it in the comments. If you were George Russell right now, would you stay and fight, or would you start making calls? Let's open this file properly. If you want the stories the paddock doesn't put in the press releases, the word choices, the unbroadcast radio messages, the things a team principal says when he thinks he's being diplomatic, subscribe right now. Because when the next chapter of this Mercedes story breaks, and it will break, you'll want the follow-up. And drop a comment telling me which country you're watching from, because I promise you, the way this story reads depends a lot on whether you grew up watching Mercedes dominate or watching them stumble. Now, the facts first, because the facts are the floor. This whole thing stands on. Sunday at the Belgian Grand Prix, Kimi Antonelli won. Again. That victory pushed his championship lead over his own teammate to 50 points. 50. Russell started that race in third place, and if he had simply held that position, the gap would have been a manageable 35 points. Instead, 3 cars swallowed him on the Kemmel Straight like he was standing still. And in the scramble to claw that ground back, he collided with Lewis Hamilton, and his race ended in the gravel of his own season. But here's the part that the highlight reels didn't show you. Russell told the media afterwards, and this is his exact claim reported via BBC Sport, that he had 0% battery deployment before that straight. 0. Toto Wolff confirmed it. A glitch at the start affected all Mercedes-powered cars. So Russell wasn't slow, he was unarmed, he was sent down the fastest straight on the calendar with an empty holster, and he called it what it was, a dangerous position. He was angry, and in a radio message that was never broadcast to the world, a furious Russell demanded answers from his own team. Hold that phrase, never broadcast. It comes back and it matters. Because what happened next is where this stops being a racing story and becomes a power story. Wolff went in front of the microphones and he had a choice. He could have said, "We failed George, here is the technical explanation, here is the fix." That's what you say when you're protecting a driver. Instead, listen to what he actually said, word for word. You have to understand that the driver is very emotional when these situations happen. But on the other side, as a Formula One driver, you are part of a very elite group. And then the line that launched 1,000 headlines. It's quite an honor to drive a Mercedes. Read that again. A driver comes to his team and says, "My car put me in danger and I want answers." And the team principal's public reply is, essentially, "Remember how lucky you are to be here." He knew exactly what he was saying. Toto Wolff has been doing this for more than a decade. He does not misspeak in a media pen. Every word from that man is weighed because he learned a long time ago that team principals don't talk to journalists. They talk through journalists to their own drivers, to their rivals, and to the market. So when Wolff frames Russell's fury as very emotional, that's not empathy. That's a reduction. It takes a legitimate technical grievance, "My car had no battery on the most important straight in Belgium," and reframes it as a feeling. Feelings pass, grievances get investigated. Wolff chose the word that passes, and now follow the chain because there's a second front in this war that makes the honor comment even sharper. Russell has been telling Mercedes publicly that he doesn't believe he has the same car as Kimi Antonelli. His evidence is a straight-line speed disparity that has shown up at recent races, and Mercedes have said they are investigating to find the root cause. Think about what that means. A driver in a title fight is openly suggesting his own machinery might not be equal to his teammates. That is one of the most serious things a Formula One driver can imply without using the word sabotage. And even Damon Hill, a world champion who owes nobody anything, said this week that something weird is going on between Russell and Mercedes. So here's your midpoint question, and I want a real answer. Is Russell right that the cars aren't equal? Or is this what it looks like when a very good driver runs into a teammate who is simply faster and reaches for the only explanation that doesn't hurt? Tell me in the comments. And if you're on Russell's side of this, if you think the straight line numbers don't lie, smash that like button so I can count the votes, because I read the score before every video. Now hold that thought. because the numbers here deserve to be laid out honestly. And this is where the picture gets complicated in a way most channels are skipping. Mercedes have won 8 of the first 10 races this season. This is not a broken team. And the reliability pain has not fallen only on Russell. Antonelli dropped roughly 40 points of his own through the failures in Barcelona and Great Britain. Russell, for his part, will feel he has lost at least 40 points to unreliability too, including a retirement from the lead in Canada. On paper, the bad luck looks almost symmetrical. But pay attention to this next part because symmetry on paper is not symmetry in reality. When Antonelli lost his 40 points, he was the rookie revelation with time on his side, and the team's public tone was patience. When Russell lost his Canada and now Spa, the public tone from the very top was the driver is very emotional. Same category of loss, completely different framing. One driver's setbacks are treated as chapters in a rise. The others are treated as a temperament issue to be managed. That's not an engineering distinction, that's a hierarchy. And Wolff, almost in passing, told us where his head really is. In the same answers, he said this: "Sometimes we let ourselves down, and it's not just the driver, but it's also us. It's valuable constructor points that we lose in our fight against Ferrari." Constructor points. In the middle of a conversation about his driver's championship collapsing, the loss Wolff reaches for is the team's fight against Ferrari. That's the tell. For Wolff, the driver's title question at Mercedes may already feel answered. Antonelli leads by 50. And what's actually at risk now, the thing that keeps a chief executive awake, is the constructor's money and the constructor's prestige. Russell's crisis in that frame isn't a wound. It's a leak, which brings us to the motivate line. And remember, I told you the unbroadcast radio would come back. Here it is. Wolff said he would try to motivate Russell before Hungary, that he's known him for such a long time that he understands the frustrations, and the classic, that the team is 100% behind him. Now, put the two halves of the weekend side by side. In private, on a radio the world never heard, Russell demanded answers. In public, Wolff offered motivation. Answers are technical. Motivation is emotional. Russell asked for the first, he was given the second. When a team swaps an engineering conversation for a pep talk, they are not solving your problem. They are managing your reaction to it. Here's the verdict, the thing the headline hinted at, and nobody else will say plainly. "It's quite an honor to drive a Mercedes" was not addressed to the press, and it wasn't really addressed to the fans. It was addressed to George Russell through the media, and it means, "This seat is bigger than you." It's the sentence you use when a driver's leverage is fading, when the kid on the other side of the garage is winning races, leading by 50 points and carrying the team's future on his shoulders. Wolff didn't defend Russell at Spa because in the cold arithmetic of that boardroom, Russell is no longer the asset that needs defending. Antonelli is the project. Russell is the professional expected to absorb the bad days with gratitude, score constructor points against Ferrari, and be, in Wolff's own words, part of a very elite group that should feel honored. The 100% backing is real, but it's backing for the employee, not the contender. That is who Mercedes really protects. And every word of it was hiding in plain sight, in one polite sentence in a Belgian media pen. So now it's your turn, because the comments are the courtroom on this channel. Agree or disagree? Was Wolff's honor line a calculated message to Russell? Or am I reading a power play into a tired boss's throwaway remark? And answer the question I planted at the start. If you're George Russell tonight, 50 points down. With a team investigating a straight-line disparity it hasn't explained, do you stay and fight for this seat? Or do you quietly start making calls before the silly season closes around you? Pick a side below. And understand this story is not over. There's an investigation still open into that straight-line speed gap. There's a Hungarian Grand Prix in days, with Wolff promising motivation and Russell demanding answers, and those are not the same thing. When the next domino falls, and in this team it always falls, you'll want to be here for the file that follows. So subscribe, hit the like if this earned it, and I'll see you in the comments. Until the next one.